morning. It's Friday, April 22nd, and time for another legislative update from your North Carolina Medical Society. Congratulations, we've made it. Short session 2016 is here. Monday night at 7 o'clock, the gavels go down and the House and Senate for North Carolina come back into session for what should be a short session by all accounts. What people are saying should be a short session by all accounts. The number one reason why they come back in a short session is to adjust the budget, to make sure that their budget that they set during the long session for the two-year biennium is right, that all the numbers are adding up, that the revenue coming in is matching the money going out, just like you're doing with your home budgets. But it's also to handle non-controversial issues. So we would expect that this short session would not handle some of the big issues, some of the big tumultuous things that you've been hearing about, both in medicine and in other areas, but stick to more non-controversial issues and then send them home to go worry about getting reelected in November. A couple of priorities that the Medical Society is going to be focused on this year. Number one is Medicaid Reform. We've talked to you about this so many times. This is a natural fit for us to keep plugging away on this and to make sure that the patient and provider protections that were included in the law last year, the new reform law last year, are actually enumerated either in statute or rulemaking this year. Because that is one of the things that was outlined in the bill. It said that all of Chapter 58, all the patient and provider protections shall apply unless excluded at a later time. So we want to make sure that they are not excluded, but they're included this next year to make sure that your patients are taken care of and that you are taken care of as we move forward into a new managed care process within Medicaid. We're also going to be talking to our legislators about Medicaid expansion, because many of the things that we laid out over the last few years have come to fruition. We now have budget predictability in Medicaid. We understand the population that's there, and we realize that there are people in North Carolina that need help. And so we're going to talk about including opportunities for more access to care for those patients. We're going to be talking about tort reform again this year, and we're going to be bringing some updates that need to occur there, some corrections that need to be made that are consistent with what happened in 2011. And so we'll be talking to you about that in weeks to come. And then we'll be continuing to talk about scope of practice and all those familiar issues that we've been telling you about over the last few months as we've been preparing for session. But one thing I want to highlight for you today is to make sure that if you haven't, even though we've told you about this many times, connected with your legislator, I want to make sure that you know one more way to identify your legislator before they come in on Monday night. And that is to go to www.ncleg.net. Go over to the tab where it says Who Represents Me, and then go down, and for the House and the Senate both, the North Carolina House and the North Carolina Senate, you can put your home address in and it drills down on a map, shows you where your house is on that map, and then you can click the number. And when you click that number, you're going to get a couple of options. That number is the district number that you live in. And if you click Show Me My Member page, it will actually take you to the House member or the Senate member, and it will have a picture there. It will have their contact information, their email, their cell phone. It'll have what kind of occupation they have been a part of for their lives. It will have their committee member structure or committee member listings and things like that. So you can identify your legislator and be familiar with them before you reach out and contact them during this legislative session, as we're going to be asking you to do. So take some time this weekend, do that one last thing for me, and then we look forward to talking to you next week about the opening of session, the pace and the cadence of which we think we can expect, and update you on bills of interest that we think you'll want to be talking to your legislators about. Have a great weekend.